Well, welcome to Chom Sports News Channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Reason behind Kai Havertz' Arsenal celebration versus Chelsea justified after perfect vengeance. Kai Havertz's celebration against Chelsea was completely justified as Arsenal hit 5 past Blues on a night. When the Germany international cemented the foundations at his new home, Arsenal delivered a painful and long-awaited hammering to a Chelsea side who have historically done similar things to the Gunners in the past. How the tables have turned as these two clubs could not be further from one another despite the considerable investment in West London. 5 goals, 2 braces, and one of them being scored by a player they deemed not good enough for their project lifts Arsenal 4 points clear of title rivals Manchester City and provides the perfect setup to the North London derby this weekend. A must-win game, but now with plenty of momentum going into it. The Gunners are now just 6 goals with 4 games remaining from their highest-ever Premier League goal tally, which was set last season, but their 26 goals conceded mean that their goal difference is 13 clear of Liverpool and 12 above City. As always, on a night of joy, Football.London runs through the successes and frustrations from the Emirates. Successes: King Kai back with a vengeance. Kai Havertz came on as a substitute in the 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season, having little impact on the result and giving the home side then little to think about. Since then, he has risen into great form, scoring important goals and making the center-forward position an interesting area of discussion. His 2 goals against his former side felt like a new level had been reached, though. A relatively quiet first half in which he certainly should have taken a shot and instead opted to try to set up a teammate, highlighting some of the lingering tweaks needed in his play. However, it felt like he entered the field in the second half as a changed player. Whatever was said to him at halftime had clearly taken effect, and he rightly celebrated against the club who deemed him surplus to requirement. What a mistake, as their new center-forward failed with his own attempts. This is a club which felt he was not good enough and were willing to sell him to a direct London rival. When you have the chance to show those who doubted you the truth, you celebrate it. Benny White. After all the controversy of the last international break, Benjamin White has just plowed on with his football. Undeterred and unfazed, his form has been excellent, and despite the noise, nothing has distracted the fullback. White's 2 goals were almost comical in some ways, and he admitted after the game that the second was a poor touch that just happened to go in. But his positioning for both goals is what is worth focusing on for this one. So often we think of fullbacks as these marauding runners like a Jeremy Frimpong, but they don't necessarily need to be. Time your runs, execute your role, and you can be one of the best, just like Benjamin White. Over to you. With Arsenal playing the only Premier League game of the night, it was almost guaranteed that both Liverpool and Manchester City's coaches and players will have been watching. The pressure is now on them to respond, and that's what Arsenal want. I believe that to win the league, Arsenal cannot afford to drop a single point, and the 3 games against Wolves, Chelsea, and Tottenham were the toughest challenge remaining. After this weekend, Arsenal will earn their first midweek break in more than a month, and it comes at the ideal time with 3 more winnable fixtures. City, meanwhile, have 3 away games at Brighton, Nottingham Forest, and Tottenham, whereas Liverpool go to Everton, West Ham, and Aston Villa. But Arsenal should only be focusing on themselves, 1 game at a time. Frustrations, I know. I'm nitpicking. Did Bukayo Saka really have to play 82 minutes? With Arsenal 4-0 up after 70 minutes and Saka having played every minute against Wolves at the weekend and had rumors of an issue suffered at the end of the game, he inevitably started and played the majority of the clash with Chelsea and will start against Spurs this weekend. Arteta took off 4 players in the 72nd minute, but still Saka remained on the field. I know I sound like a broken record, but surely Fabio Vieira could have done with some more game time? He looked sprightly too, which was nice to see. I just think more can be done to protect players and preserve their remaining energy. Why take the risk? Gabriel injury. Well, despite completing the game, Gabriel went to ground in the second half complaining of an issue with his ankle. It seemed that he was already signaling to the bench before this, and it highlights what is known to be an ongoing foot issue. With the North London derby on Sunday, it is good that he was able to finish the game. However, it remains something which Arsenal will be aware of and concerned by after he missed international duty due to what is understood to be the same issue. Out of our hands, there is something about this Arsenal side playing without pressure. The defeat to Aston Villa was a massive blow, And the successive loss against Bayern Munich, just days later, compounded the anger and frustration of fans. It sucks that Arsenal have to rely upon their rivals to slip up as they again chase with just 4 games remaining. The hope is that with City having 6 to play, they will indeed slip up at some point. But the Gunners not having the title in their own hands despite playing so well, scoring so many and conceding so few will be looked back on perhaps as the difference come May. Thanks for visiting and don't forget subscribe, like, share and comment.